Today is February 11th, 2018. I am on my way to the airport. I am under very close surveillance, and I know there's somebody that can hear me right outside the door. But something needs to be said before I would feel comfortable even to get in the travel to the airport. I've been away from New York City much longer than I anticipated because I've not felt safe to go back. And it is really a shame because that is a beautiful city and I love so many people there. And I'm very sure, probably shouldn't say how I'm so sure, but I'm very sure that in fact it's not because it's New York City and it's a hot spot for organized crime, because it's not even normal for people in organized crime to go along with the kind of thing that's been happening there, that I'm really concerned about. And people from the time they're first born, before they're born, for it to be decided that they're going to be enslaved to this human trafficking network. And so somehow there seems to be government support of this, and it is very much connected to the rampant, now absolutely outrageously epidemic sexual assaults against people, including from as young an age as the organized predators can get their hands on. So it includes children, whether they're in college, whether they're in high school, basically until the day of their consequently premature death, getting abused and assaulted like that. And I believe that at least as many men are being assaulted that way, but that we're just not hearing from them as much because of cultural differences, including stigma and communication differences. Like, women are used to speaking up more, really, and about these kinds of any kind of concerns with regard to emotional impact, etc. So if some, especially government-protected network, sends perpetrators, plural, as many as they need, including potentially the most trained in terms of military training and all, to assault in any which way any individual, male or female, I mean, no one can really fend that off. That's just a fact. But I think it's just harder for men to admit when that's happened to them. So in addition to my complaint to the New York field office of the FBI being so far ignored, and basically having people just try to figure out who told me the name of the victim specialist, because I was told the person's name, that I should be able to speak with her, and people that have been picking up the phone when my calls get diverted. It seems to be through unlawful real-time surveillance by these people. They have they have badges and they have technology, but they don't have a legal right to be surveilling like this for no good or legitimate reason, just to help cover up their human trafficking. But they're getting my calls diverted to themselves, and so they follow a unilateral script. It's obvious it does not matter what I say. For example, I was told, well, you don't even know who the perpetrators are. So, well, one, I really didn't think it was my job to have to make sure that I figure out who the perpetrators are, but actually I do, and I said, I do, and it includes a person believed to be my stepfather. And so then the person hung up on me. So I don't remember how many more insults and all they had, and mocking laughter, what have you, beforehand, but, it wasn't not a very long call. And so then I realized I was not going to get anywhere on the phone. I already realized that they have even better opportunity to divert anything if I try like a live chat situation or so, to reach out for any law enforcement help, or email, correspondence. So I went ahead and I walked my complaint in there, and I have both the photo scan of the front and back of the complaint and the name of the security guard that was there at the time and everything else to verify that I formally submitted that complaint. But that was July now of 2017, and now it's February 11th, 2018, and they've not responded at all. My evidence includes these organized predators planning to abduct me at gunpoint with someone that they said was from Guyana, which is where the people believed to be my biological parents are from, and where my great-grandfather was Minister of Health and Housing in Guyana. which is where Jonestown took place, which seems to be related. So I'll talk more about that another time. But so basically, unfortunately, I was born in one of the many people internationally born into a situation where I've been co-opted for them to try to get my mind and everything, every aspect of my life, to gain and maintain coercive control over me and over every aspect of my life. And it needs to stop. So, I mean, if I'm going to have any chance to actually one day have a healthy, happy Valentine's Day, like I'm wishing for everyone else, it's coming up now soon for 2018, and have any chance to maybe settle down in time to still possibly have a healthy child, because I might already not be in the age range where I can safely do that. I'm not sure. I spoke with a doctor about it. He said maybe I could because of certain factors. He thought I might be able to be one of those people that could safely have a child into my early 50s. Long story short, I was very much into competitive dance, and it just kind of postponed certain things with regard to hormones. So it might be that I have longer to go forward, because I also I started later in terms of being of childbearing age range, because of the level of physical activity I was sustaining in earlier years. So, but I mean, I need a personal life. I need a professional life. I'm a very hard-working person. I've never done anything wrong. And this is a very wrong situation. If they can be doing this to me, which obviously they've been doing it, then they can do it to anybody. And so I'm not willing to live in this world. And I understand what the risks are. So they might just, there already was one contract on my life that I'm aware of that appears to have been canceled. And it seems to be related to the fact that the person, well, I don't know exactly who ordered it. I know that the organized predators referred to the person as Dr. 5, and the two doctors most likely to have been Dr. 5 are dead. So one was my stepfather, and one was Dr. John Anthony Sabarbaro, that I wrote about in my December 2014 written testimony to the United States Senate Judiciary Committee. He had documented ties, thoroughly evidenced, not just speculated, and not just by me, including an ABC News report. He had ties to non-consensual human experimentation, military, U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee, where black budget funds could go through, etc. And I also have documentation that he was specifically interfering with me. Left and right, I was running into memoranda that people were upset about. Legitimate doctors, or at least relatively legitimate concerned doctors, were upset about that they kept running into memos from this Dr. Sabarbaro, telling them, to not do this to help me and to make sure to try to discredit me instead, and this and that. So, and then most recently, I found out that the person believed to be my stepfather was in communication with an investigator at the DA's office in New York, who's supposed to be leading up their human trafficking investigations, and instead they were trying to figure out how to frame me, to get me locked up for anything they could come up with. They weren't hadn't settled on anything yet as to what that might be. They were trying to come up with it, and I'm still, even with the evidence that these organized predators, recordings of themselves planning to abduct me at gunpoint with someone from Guyana, and then just months later that's when I was in Canada, and then months later when I came back to the States, New York in fact, having men, plural, pretend to be from FedEx, actually going so far as to wear FedEx jackets, which might or might not have been real FedEx jackets, but they actually said FedEx on them, etc. And they came to my door trying to trick me into opening the door. And I have the full audio of when they were there, as well as photographs I took of them. I was running low on storage space, so I did not do video per se, but I had the full audio going. In fact, because right before then, I heard somebody try my doorknob to see if the door might just have happened to be unlocked, and they could have opened it that way without sign of forced entry. So, supposed law enforcement has been blowing this off, which also is the umpteenth thing that helps to show that there's some kind of covert government facilitation of these particular human traffickers. So I'm just not willing to live in this world. You know, I mean, I'm not suicidal. I never will be, and I never have been. But I have to do what I can do to help raise awareness to where this is not happening in my situation and in general, and or die trying. So that's our situation, and I'm wishing everyone as happy a Valentine's Day as possible. God bless you.